Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about how to hire an accountant for your business, and there's going to be a few steps that we're going to go through with hiring an accountant, because obviously when you have a very small business and a new business, you have very different needs for an accountant than you do when you have a very large business. So we're going to kind of walk through two things up here. One is kind of the steps you're going to go through with your accountant as your business grows, and then two is what exactly does an accountant do for you. Alright, so first we're going to talk about what an accountant does for you. So the first thing that an accountant is going to do for you is bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is simple. It's just putting the entries from your bank account into QuickBooks. All right, so every time you make a deposit, that goes into QuickBooks. Every time you have an expense, that goes into QuickBooks. QuickBooks is the accounting software that pretty much is used universally, and your bookkeeper makes your entries. And it's probably a good idea to hire a bookkeeper almost right away, because someone who knows what they're doing can do this so much faster than you that it's worth having someone else do that so you can spend your time on the things that make you money. So the first thing they're going to do is bookkeeping. The second thing that they'll do is run reports. So every month we run a P&L and we look at all of our numbers and cross-check them with our master business plan file. Third thing is they're going to update that master business plan file. So if you notice in the video where we go through the master business plan file, there's a tab called overhead tracking. Our accountant updates that every month from the QuickBooks from the bookkeeping they did. The next thing that an accountant would do is payroll processing. So they would work with your payroll company. We send payroll to the accountant. They send it off to payroll. They make sure everybody gets paid on time. IRS communication. So we get a lot of mail from the IRS. It's insane how much mail the IRS sends. Our accountant handles all of the IRS mail that we get in government communication. And then last is, as you run a business, the bigger the business gets, the more the government needs reports from you. So with Foothills Painting, for example, we have to submit monthly reports, quarterly reports, and annual reports. So our accountant does all of those reports. So that's what an accountant's going to ultimately do for you. Now, when you're early on with your business, you don't really have all these reports. You pretty much can just do a report at the end of the year. This includes like 1099s for contractors, W-2s for employees, that kind of stuff that needs to be done at the end of the year. So when you have a small business, this is once a year, which just a freelance bookkeeper can do, which we'll talk about. IRS communication will be pretty limited at the beginning, but once you have lots of employees and unemployment insurance and quarterly and monthly reports, you'll have a lot more of that. So this won't be very hefty at the beginning. Payroll processing, you won't have any employees at the beginning. Updating your MVP file, they will do that. Running any reports, they will do that. And bookkeeping, they will do that. So these three things here will happen from the beginning of your business, and this will happen from the beginning of your business, but not as frequently. This can be annually at the beginning of your business. These will be kind of ongoing. So that's what a bookkeeper or an accountant will do for you. Now, the steps you'll kind of go through is at first, you just want to hire a freelance accountant. Since the only thing they'll be doing for you is your bookkeeping, so your entries, they'll be updating your overhead tracking once a month, they'll run reports once a month, and once a year they'll do this. It's literally like a 2 to 5 hour a week position, and you should be able to get a good bookkeeper for anywhere from $30 to $50 an hour, for anywhere from $100 to $250 a month to do all of those really basic things for you. Once you start growing your business more and you start to get into having payroll and employees and you have more IRS communication and it's just turning into a bigger role, it's more cost efficient to get someone on payroll because you can get a really good, payrolled accountant for about $25 to $30 an hour instead of a freelance accountant who's more like $50 an hour. So the next step is moving and actually hiring a part-time accountant. So that's what we had for a long time, is an accountant who worked about 20 hours a week. And she's doing bookkeeping, she's running reports, she's updating our MVP file, she's processing payroll, any IRS communication that comes in she handles, and she handles the monthly, quarterly, and annual reports. As the role grows, this part-time person is going to turn into more of a full-time person. Once that person gets maxed out, the next step is you hire an accountant, or an intern, for my accountant, which is what I'm in the process of doing right now, because our accountant is getting kind of overflow, right? So she's got so much work to do that she's not quite able to keep up. So we're hiring a 10-hour-a-week intern to come in and support her with some of the really basic stuff. So that's kind of your process. You can search for a freelance accountant by just networking. You can post on Facebook, talk to your friends and family. You can look on Thumbtack, just search on Google, and interview a few different people and let them know what your needs are and if this is something they've done. And interview 3, 4, 5 people until you find someone that you're really comfortable with a fair price for what you're asking for. And again, once that starts to swell into a much larger position, then you can actually bring on a part-time accountant on your salary. So that's the basics about bringing on an accountant. and what they're going to do for you. So if you have any questions, post them in the Facebook group, and we can always edit or update this video, but that should get you well on your way to finding an accountant. All of this stuff is really straightforward to an accountant. They're familiar with all of this stuff. So, I don't know a lot of details about this stuff. I rely on my accountant for that. All right, so you don't need to be a master of this. You just need to find someone that you trust, and they know their stuff, they're well reviewed, that kind of thing, and they're going to be really effective at delivering this really simple stuff for you. So that is what you need to know about hiring an accountant and using an accountant for your painting business.